in Sue Bierman Park in San Francisco, and I'm Steve Levy. You might think it takes years to cultivate a championship relationship between a quarterback and their head coach. Not this year. This will be the second soup ever where the relationship is merely 1 year. John Gruden had Brad Johnson, Bill Callahan, and Rich Gannon. We fast forward now to Mike Macdonald and Sam Darnold, and of course Mike Vrabel and Drake Maye.
Yeah, I'm feeling great. I'm so fortunate to be out here with these guys. We got a full week of practice. It's felt good, on Monday, and looking forward to get back out there today and tomorrow and Friday and having a normal week. So looking forward to that and feeling good. Yeah, shoulder feels great.
Is there any pain whatsoever lingering?
Feels good. Feels good. That's why you have guys in the training room. My guy Zach and Mike. There's been multiple people in there working on getting me healthy, and I'm feeling great to go. I wasn't limited on Monday, so I don't see any way I'd be limited today. I'm feeling good. It's Wednesday and Thursday of a game week. It's the two most important practice days. We got to be all hands on deck. Fine tune the details, and we already have a game plan in, but make sure we try to execute it and just fine tune what we've been working on all season, and that's bringing our identity on the road. Having a chance to go win the Super Bowl and play at a high level in critical situations and in little things that during the game little things are going to matter.
Joined by Dan Orlovsky and Ryan Clark. How's everybody's shoulder?
Yeah, he's done that multiple times. Also, it doesn't sound like he's playing in the Super Bowl. He's like, that's a preseason game. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out.
Let's get to some keys. So, Dan, I'm going to ask you the key for Drake Maye to be successful. And don't tell me not turn the football over.
Right,
we all get that.
Turnovers.
Give me the X
That might
factor,
help to not turn it over, though.
I think two situations when he's a runner. One, early downs. We often talk about quarterbacks and running and in the playoffs, and everyone correlates it to only the third down situations. I think Drake, as a runner on first and second down, is a really big deal. And if you just look at the way it's kind of played itself out in the postseason, second down has been the down that he's done his most damage, almost 8 yards per carry. When he does it, it's a great Seattle defense that he's going against. You're not going to matriculate the ball down the field and live in third down conversions. So don't hesitate. I think the second thing is this. Josh McDaniels, who's the offensive coordinator, when and how much does he use him in the designed runs? A little bit more in that third and short or in those red zone situations when they haven't necessarily shown that to be an identity of theirs. He's plenty athletic enough to do it. In these games, Josh always has these wrinkles, always has some of these gadget and/or trick plays. Maybe down in the red zone, him utilizing him as a runner and designed runs, big deal.
The other piece of it is, too, there's a word that dies once guys get drafted, and that's dual threat. That's what you're talking about with Drake Maye. It doesn't have to be the third down play where he's getting rushed and he's fighting for a first down. It could be those early downs to put this team ahead of the sticks. Yeah. Because the thing you don't want to do is be behind the sticks against this great four-man rush with the secondary that can play sticky coverage, especially when they have eyes on the quarterback. And so for Drake Maye to show his athleticism early, I think helps this New England Patriots team not get stuck behind the sticks, which is a place you don't want to be against Seattle.
I saw Mike Tannenbaum sitting in that seat earlier today, and his hot take was Sam Darnold has more rushing yards in the game than Drake Maye. I'm not saying.
Mike T said some things.
That's hot.
He said some things.
That's a hot take. All right, let's flip it. Ryan, tell me, he saw the Houston defense. We all thought the Texans defense was great. I don't know where you rank Seattle and Houston's defense, but what's Maye staring at when he looks at Seattle?
Absolutely. Seattle is one of the top 3 defenses in all of football, and they're a little different. They don't pressure a ton, but I do believe if they get to these third down situations, you're going to start bringing second-level players like Nick Eamon-Warry. And here you're going to see they're going to drop players, right? So this is a fire zone. You're still going to have eyes on the quarterback. Tyler Algier, the running back of the Falcons, he goes to the bottom of the screen because of the pressure look. And now Julian Love, who was out for parts of this season, he's back. He rushes the A-gap. Again, Boye Mafe is going to drop into the vertical hook so you don't get the football off right away. He beats Christian McCaffrey. And the last one, you're going to bring both Kobe Bryant and Eamon-Warry off the right side of the defensive line. And then you're going to add Knight to the rush. He gets a free rush and a free hit on Jacoby Brissett. Mike Macdonald is so creative with these defenses. And if Drake Maye starts to utilize his legs, expect them to add a rusher so it's more pressure on him and he can't step up into the pocket.
That tape. Imagine having to play against that. You're like, I don't know where are these people coming from, pressure and dropping out.
It's like they have 14 guys on the field.
That's what it feels like.
It felt like that a lot, though, this season for Mike Macdonald and that defense.
Yeah, I think New England's defense is a huge part of this puzzle, right? Keep us in the game.
Yeah.
Keep us in the game so the offense and Drake Maye doesn't have to feel like, all right, we're now chasing points. And then you've got to handle this front inside out for Seattle if you're New England. So these defensive tackles, Murphy and Leonard Williams, big time. So you got to hit them with quick hitting runs right now just to make them slow, protect your edges, screens and draws, and just try to keep them as much off balance as possible.
But that's why, though, Ramondre Stevenson, who we haven't talked about, he was great against the Chargers, finished with 70 yards against the Texans. To me, he's the most important person outside of Drake Maye, especially early in this game.
All right, how, everybody's shoulders okay?
Yeah, mine's good.
Shoulders good. Everybody's shoulders good.
Can't get it above this, though.
All right, that felt very New England heavy, very Drake Maye heavy. Don't you worry. We know there are 2 starting quarterbacks in this game. And later on in SportsCenter, that's where we come to you, our SportsCenter headquarters, all week long. I'm Steve Levy. I believe that among the most overrated, overused cliches in all of sports is the old chip on the shoulder. It is simply impossible for every pro athlete in every sport to always have a chip on their shoulder. We get to our quarterbacks and the similarities. Drake Maye and Sam Darnold, both drafted 3rd overall. And that's about it. For Sam, Seattle is his 5th team in 8 years. So that chip on his shoulder, it's real.
You know, I think it doesn't really come down to that for me. You know, it's always just been about putting in the hard work every single day. And, you know, sometimes hard work and all the dedication and hours I've put in the off season, during the season, you know, that just, it leads to this moment, you know, and that's kind of the mindset I have and really the mindset I've had my entire career.
We are back with my buddies, Ryan Clark and Dan Orlovsky. Dan, let's talk about how Darnold has evolved from this past regular season to the postseason under pressure, and we should differentiate the pressure.
Real pressure. Humans, defenders near him rather than like, this is so hard to do.
It's a big game. Yeah. How has he gotten better under real pressure, like blitzes?
Yeah, he's been at his very best in the postseason, and the thing that is interesting is during the regular season, as impressive as his year was, it wasn't very good in those situations. He led the NFL in turnovers in that moment when pressure, a defender, a body near him. It just wasn't good, and that was kind of the thing that everyone expected the shoe to fall again in the playoffs at some point. And in the playoffs, and those 2 games against San Francisco and the Rams, he was at his very best under pressure, no turnovers in those situations. And if they, Seattle, get that version of Sam Darnold one more time this season, they're going to be Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, you look at what Sam Darnold was able to do just against the Los Angeles Rams in the NFC Championship. I talked to Jared Verse, and I said, what did Sam Darnold prove to you? He said, I hit him and dropped him on the ground and just knew that the play was incomplete or I had a sack, and I look up and Jackson Smith and Jigba's in the corner of the end zone. He talked about Sam's toughness, his ability to get back up after being physically assaulted in the pocket. But he's been verbally assaulted his entire career, and the perception of him has been under attack, and he's just been just as steady as we saw him in that press conference.
He's got a good chip on his
The chip, right? His chip is real, right? He's got a reason to have it. So the narrative on Darnold, can he finally shake that? We know the millions he cost himself last year. Well documented, right? Minnesota's still paying the price for that.
Yeah.
So with Darnold now, he comes off an all-time game in a championship game. If he does it again here in the Super Bowl on the biggest stage, are we done talking about we're worried about Sam throwing a pick late?
Well, no, I think that's always the case, right? You're always going to consider that quarterbacks can falter or make mistakes, but that narrative doesn't exist inside of their building. When you listen to Mike Macdonald talk about Sam Darnold, Zach Charbonnet was on with Scott Van Pelt, and he acted like he'd never heard this narrative about Sam Darnold. And even after the game, after winning the NFC Championship, Sam was like, I don't focus on that. I focus on the present. That is what matters. How much can Sam Darnold be in the moment?
Yeah, I think the best part about Sam Darnold is even though there's been almost endless noise about him, he's heard none of it.
Yeah.
And we talk about quarterback evaluation and who coming out of the draft and this resiliency. I think that's his greatest talent and skill set is he's a resilient guy. And if he wins this game, he's going to put himself in a category that only so many quarterbacks in the history of this league have ever gotten to.
Yep.
It doesn't mean he's going to be oblivious or
to criticism.
correct. At some
Yeah.
point, that'll come back to his life once again.
I think he's a sympathetic figure. I think he's an easy guy to root for.
Oh,
we
big
don't
time.
root for
Yeah.
teams, root for people.
Yeah.
I think he's an easy guy to root for. Sam Darnold will be just the 4th player ever to play in his home state in the Super Bowl. The
is
last
cool.
one was Troy Aikman. Did it in Super Bowl 27. That's it for now. We're California.